Welcome to the Bushiroad Weiss Schwarz and market update for September 24th, 2021. And this is going to be a fast one because I need to get out of here. I have a county fair to go to, and tomorrow I will be judging barbecues. So I'll be unavailable. So I'm going to just do this today, and we're going to go through it real fast. First up, we got Hololive. Hololive trial decks have come out today. And for me, the reason why I'm covering it is because it's pretty huge. And at the same time, we know we're getting an English release. Normally, I like to track what happens in the Japanese version to see what I expect to somewhat happen on the English version. And as you can see here, there are 7 trial decks. And these are the SPs from those trial decks. Some of them are missing. This comes from Nova TCG. And just make that clear where this is all coming from. So out there on Nova TCG, they are selling SPs. Some pictures are not there, but the plus side is you could see the actual numbers of the cards below. So if the card picture isn't there, we'll be able to have that, look that up later. But at the same time, I want to use this as a historical reference as what at least one online seller is selling it for and what they're actually selling at. So here is that one. There's 3 pages of this. So I'm going to go through this quick. As you can see here, I wonder if anything is going to happen to this one in the English version. As you can see, normally, sometimes we get a sensor light beam here, but I think this one will be okay. Not really sure. I feel like it'll be okay. And here is the last bit of it. As you can see, there are some pretty pricey ones. And again, what we saw with the Quints with 5 trial decks, one can speculate what's going to happen with this one, being that there are actually 7 trial decks on this release. So booster box will be released next week. That's why you don't see it here yet. And what they have on Nova TCG is a playset of double rares for $555. Again, this is just for historical purposes to see what possibly could happen when an English version does come out. Next, we got Nazarick. As we know, Nazarick is possibly getting a reprint. I don't see anybody yet confirm it. I know there's a store selling it and other people selling it, but at the same time, it's either that it's not confirmed yet, which is why I'm not seeing other people selling it, or everybody's staying away. And what's going on is the SP, and I'm going to use this albedo, that's what you see in the screen, is the SPs are reflecting a possible reprint. And on this one, we got Boundless Obsessive Love albedo. 2 weeks ago, that thing was $19.95 with 2 sellers. 1 week ago, it was 3 sellers, $500. And as you can see right now today on TCG Player, there are 4 sellers and it is $299.99. So this thing is being priced in as a reprint is coming. This isn't the only one that is showing signs of dropping. There are SPs from Nazarick that are starting to reappear as more and more people find out about this. So if you're going to be buying any of these cards, just be careful about what you do. Again, with Data Live, why I'm showing this, Data Live, there wasn't really much change when it comes to the double rares and cards. But again, what I want to point out here is with a Nazarick reprint, what is going to happen to the SPs is they are going to get nailed. They are going to drop 30 to 50%. It's going to happen. And as you can see here, I remember this Dignified Toka. I pretty sure this thing was over $200. This Frenzy Nightmare Kurumi was like $250, something like that. Katori here, she was higher up. And as you can see, it all adjusts. The percent change depending on like how much they were before the reprint. Because I feel like Origami and Yoshino were just about 100 and now it's 75. So that's like a 25% drop here. This one 25, 30, something like that. So overall, what you're starting to see is the damages to the highly collectible cards when a reprint happens. And we already know what happens with the double rares and all the playable cards. They drop as well. So when we think about a Nazarick reprint, yeah, these things might have been expensive back then, but if a reprint does happen, you're going to see some big drops, especially if this is already right now. So if this thing has already dropped this much since the thought of a reprint, just wait till an actual reprint happens. Fate, we have nothing happening here. So Heaven's View, I just threw up the picture. It basically, no one's interested in it. There is a little buying here and there. There are some cards showing up, but overall, double rares, SPs, all that good stuff, nothing's really changed at all. When we look at Seven Deadly Sins, the signed cards are actually, well, signed and unsigned card. So on the left side, we have Elizabeth 1 week before, right side is Bond 1 week before, and underneath is today. So as you can see here, there was some purchasing happening. There was changes to it. Again, what is going to happen, I believe, is there's going to be more supply that shows up as people start realizing that, hey, by the way, some of these are starting to go up, right? There's plenty of booster boxes out there. There was plenty of cards boxes opened as we've seen. There was a huge supply of it. So if someone didn't actually sell their SPs, they just took them down because it was too low, I imagine I would start seeing them pop up again. So I wouldn't really freak out about it, but at the same time, just know that this is going on, that these are starting to be bought up. Not just these two. These are the most drastic of the two, but at the same time, possibly you'll see more. Again, the Elizabeth is a trial deck version, and as I've noted, there's plenty of trial decks out there. There are a ton of supply of trial decks, so at the same time, even though trial decks are normally rare, in this set, we've been seeing a lot more of these just because of the amount of supply of trial decks. Next, we got Bofuri, hitting on that same notion that I was talking about when it comes to supply. We know Bofuri for a while there dropped down to one seller, went to 269, and then as the weeks kept going on and on, I know more sellers started seeing this, started putting up their boxes like 170, 140, 150, 130. So now we're here, 8 listings, 130. Again, as this all happens, as this keeps going along, you're going to see more and more supply show up. But at the same time, there's only a finite supply, especially when you think about a set like Bofuri. There wasn't a ton of demand or purchasing up front just because people were thinking about other sets that were coming out. And then when they started realizing the signs were really cool and the anime was actually a good anime, and this was a decent set overall, then that started causing this kind of snowball. And what we're seeing here is why this thing is at 130. There's not enough supply out there, even though more and more people keep putting their boxes up. It eventually gets bought and it's taken off the market. There's just such a limited supply of it. Unlike, Seven Deadly Sins or Fate Heaven's Field 2. What we got here now is the play set. So as I've been saying, the supply of Bofuri has been going down, and this is one of those weeks where, again, you have some increases. It's not a ton of increase. Like, you can see the increase overall for the week is like 1%, but even then, that is $4 up, $4.50 up. And really why this actually matters is because if you intend on playing Bofuri, and again, what I said is supply matters, you could see here that Battle Craftswoman has been sold out for 2 weeks now. Even though people, when it sold out or got down to one supply, there was another seller that came in and another supplier that came in. But at the same time, it kept getting bought. So at some point, if you actually wanted to play this set, I'm not saying now is the time or anything like that, but you're definitely getting close to the point where you may not be able to pick up these cards for a cheap dollar amount, just because, again, there was a low supply. The booster box are now $130, and every time a seller puts up certain cards for a certain price, they keep getting bought out. So your window to actually buy some of this stuff is closing. And again, not to scare you or anything, because there's always sets that are going to come out. You'll have more sets coming up in the future. But if you did want to have Bofuri, your time is running out. And again, this is TCG Player. You can always try to go on an online store Go to your local game store, they might have it. Go on Facebook, there's people that may sell this thing still. Who knows? I don't know. But when it comes to the TCG player, as you can see here, the supply is pretty much running out. Next, we got the clothes. We got clothes. And as you can see here, clothes, they got hats, shirts, they got a shoulder bag. These things are okay-ish looking. I don't know if I would buy one for myself. The thought of having Weiss Schwarz clothes actually is a nice idea. At the same time, I don't know if this fits on what I actually want to wear. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just not for me. Like, I thought the hat would look cool in this mock-up, but then when I actually saw the hat, didn't really like the hat all that much. But at the same time, again, everybody has different tastes. Hopefully they come out with more stuff in the future, and there's something that I want to pick up. The pre-order deadline is September 29th, so just make sure today's the 24th. You got 5 days. If you want it, buy it. It'll ship to you December 21st, hopefully by Christmas. That'll be really cool. And when it comes, I didn't have it up here, but if you're wondering what about Kaguya, same thing. Kaguya, there's nothing happening with Kaguya. Kaguya, the supply on booster boxes, like I've noted the past couple of weeks, have been just slowly being bought out, which is a nice thing. And at the same time, it's one of those ones where, again, if you wanted it, you just want to make sure that you do it sometime relatively soon to make sure you have it. And same with Data Live booster box as well. I'm not saying it's going to run out anytime soon, but the amount of sellers that actually have booster boxes for sale is definitely going down. So check that out. Okay, with that, I am going to stop here. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to go to the fair. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday night,